Welcome everyone. Web Squared first edition, first episode. To be honest, it's the second one, and I'm here with Samina and Ben. Samina was supposed to be the host, but I stole her.
All good.
So welcome everyone, Samina. The stage is
All
yours.
right. Okay, everybody, welcome to Web3 Squared. We did our pilot episode, so this is technically our first episode. I'm really excited to be joined by Francesco. I think Vito is not joining us today, but we also have special guest Ben, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves after I introduce myself, of course. So I'm a developer advocate at Decentology. I've been in the Web3 space since August of 2021, and I'm mostly focused on helping Web2 developers dive into Web3. So I'm going to let Francesco introduce himself real quick, and then we'll pass it on to Ben.
Hi, I'm Francesco. I'm from Rome, 38. I've been too much time on Twitter and YouTube lately. I am a daily dev advocate, and I stepped into Web3 since I think 1 month ago, 1 month and a half ago. And I also met Samina and also amazing other developers who are also really let's say enthusiastic about Web3. And it's a pleasure to have you here, Ben. I think we can also show something. You can share your screen maybe later, but please, Ben, tell us little bit more about yourself. Thank you.
Definitely, that was the best intro, Francesco, that I heard in a long time. Sadly, I don't spend too much time on Twitter, but I did meet Samina there in my time when I was working at Dapper Labs, basically explaining a few blockchain concepts to developers and to the broader audience as a technical content marketing manager, and kind of like got into the weeds of Flow and building on Flow and Cadence, which is kind of like the smart contract programming language on Flow. And so my side project, which is Zeedz, kind of like turned into a full-time project. I'm CTO and co-founder of Zeedz. The other co-founder is Sven. He's acting as CEO right now, and we know each other from back in the days in university. Got back in touch last year, and we founded Zeedz. So here I am now in a full-time role as CTO of Zeedz, and super excited to talk a bit about Zeedz and next generation Web3 games.
Nice, and I've already posted the link, so if you want to take a look, but please stay with us at least during the live stream so you know more about also the story of Zeedz. I hope that I'm pronouncing that well. But before we start, how did you get into blockchain in general, Ben? I don't want to ask you how old are you, but let's just talk about the blockchain part.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I wasn't at 2009. I wasn't at 2017 either. I was for a long time building platforms for universities, and that was straightforward platforms, the ones that students can go to and visit and see if that university is something for them or not. So basically, straightforward, old school chat applications. So in that regard, I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if you had an event platform that kind of like had ticketing systems, right? And this is when I got into kind of like the whole rabbit hole of blockchain technology, which then led me quite directly and quite straight to Flow, to be honest, because of course at that time NBA Top Shot was something that was not happening yet, but still on the horizon. But as it grew and as NFTs gained kind of like the wide popularity that they have now, I kind of like joined right at the trajectory of this, and now I'm basically in this space and really like it here.
Awesome. And you mentioned NBA Top Shot, but can you tell us a little bit more about Dapper Labs? Because you were there I don't know if you're still there as the technical content manager or if you are fully working on Zeedz, but can you tell us a little bit about Dapper Labs for anyone who may not know?
Definitely. So I'm now full time since actually last week. I'm full time at Zeedz. So yeah, but we are close with Dapper Labs because we are building on the Flow blockchain, which was originally built by Dapper Labs, right? So Dapper Labs, basically you might have heard of the Crypto Kitty game, the cute little kitten game. I think everyone has heard about this, right? If not, check it out. You should have heard about it. It's very nice. You can breed your own cats. They have different character treats, and yeah, basically what Dapper Labs did with that application is they broke Ethereum because it was a hugely popular game, and that led to I think for actually quite a few weeks it led to hugely high confirmation times on Ethereum, and that's when I think Dieter Shirley, like he's actually the inventor of the NFT standard on Ethereum, and his team, they said, well, let's build our own blockchain. And I always said that to the team when I worked there. I think that's the craziest idea that I've heard in a long time, but also the boldest idea. And to be honest, it worked out. Like what Flow is now is a super accessible and super usable blockchain. And this is why, ultimately it was a no-brainer for us at Zeedz to build on the Flow blockchain as well. And the entire ecosystem around it. Like I can go on now for ages, but yeah, I mean, so this is basically where Dapper Labs come from.
Nice.
And they, of course, then building on the first big application that started on Flow, their own blockchain, was NBA Top Shot. And I think NBA Top Shot is something that we all heard, just a great example how you can tap into an existing community and really take the mainstream to the blockchain. And that was impressive and is still impressive. And since then, we've seen many different applications. I think today there's the is it UFC? I'm not really into that sport, but I think a new application just popped up on Flow today. So yes, basically that's where Dapper Labs come from, and I had a great time working there.
Nice. Hey, Aman, how are you? I made an interview as a guest at 5 a.m. on his YouTube channel. So if you want, you can check it out. We have also Kevin. So this is getting interesting. Hey there, GM. Now, Ben, the most important question of the whole episode. Which kind of games have you played when you were younger, I can say? Yeah, mind your answer, because this can decide also by you being kicked out of this. I also want result. I like your ladder and your position.
Oh my God! Okay, then I think I'm going to be kicked out here. I think no. I think of course one of the most let's say how do you say it in English? I don't know. One of the biggest experiences was of course Pokemon. I mean, that was directly my generation growing up. The blue edition and the red edition coming out for the Game Boy. That was something that was also something that you find in Zeedz, I guess, today. And it is something that I ever did since. And that kind of like inspired also a lot of the evolution stages that we have now, of course, in the Zeedz game. And yeah, I always like to think that I did, of course, I do remember like the first Nintendo I had and playing like Mario Kart. That was awesome. My parents kind of like didn't like it too much, but I guess this is just like any parent would do. Yeah. So but basically those kind of games were the ones I kind of like started.
Always better than my parents that never bought me a Nintendo. So I had to play at my friend's house and saying this publicly. Yeah, but I played that on PC, I think, for enough time. Nice. By the way, I love Pokemon. Yeah, also a younger brother, we played together. I was like 10 years older than him. Nice. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played too much Pokemon too. I think my first was Sapphire though on the Game Boy, but that was bad. Now I feel old. I'm not even old, but okay.
Of course.
Yeah, it was like the best. What are some other side projects you've worked on? Actually, I wanted to know because like I found you through Crypto Dappy, and that's when I was like trying to learn Flow or Cadence, and it was a really cool project. But are there any like other big side projects you've worked on like before you got into Zeedz?
Well, not blockchain related. So Zeedz was basically one of the first ideas that we had, and we ended up following building it. But yeah, you talk about Crypto Dappy, and probably let me take the chance to explain a bit about Crypto Dappy. Basically, Crypto Dappy is one of the, let's say, course style tutorials that get you started on Flow, on programming with Cadence, and on using a lot of tools in the Flow ecosystem. And you do that by building kind of like your own collectibles game. where you can collect small little dappies, they're called. It's basically kind of like the hero icon from Dapper Labs, let's say. And you can kind of like mint your own NFTs, create your own templates, and kind of like use the blockchain technology to really build your own game in the course of, I don't know, 4 to 5 hours, let's say. So if you want, check it out. It's on cryptodappy.com. I think I can send that link also here in the chat, right?
If you want, you can share your screen with us too. I think we can pull it up.
Yeah, you can also show your screen.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, if we have the time, I don't know what you guys have planned as well, but of course we can take some time to just kind of like walk through this. So let me see if I can share my screen here. I can, right? Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. It
Okay.
works, I think. Can you see it right now?
Yep.
Super, perfect. So if
Nice.
you go to cryptodappy.com, you basically go to the kind of like learning portal of CryptoDappy, and you can check it all out here. There's a small introduction video that you can see, and then it takes you through different missions that you can take. And each mission kind of like has their own feature that they are going to build. So in the beginning, there's always a short brief. It's kind of like you're in this fictitious startup company and you start to build your own blockchain application. You have your mission brief, and then you go to the different videos and learn a bit about flow in general. You have an intro from Roham, and then you go through the different kind of like building parts of building that application. And in the end, you'll have your own application where you kind of like have your where you can purchase different packs of dappies, and you can build your own collection. And we even have, this kind of like started as a flow project, but then it evolved into kind of into a community project. So there are people building a marketplace for it. There are people building Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese translation for it. So it's really a community project right now. And if you want to contribute, you can also click here on contribute and start to check out our GitHub repository, contact the Flow team or me, and get started building. So short disclaimer on CryptoDappy. I want your Sabina. I will go into depth here if you let me.
Yeah, basically we are not playing now because we are doing the live stream, but as soon as we end, of course we will, or maybe you can do this even live. Yeah, hey there. Nice. By the way, I've seen some influence of Pacman, I think, or maybe I've just seen that. I don't know.
It could be.
Nice.
They are not evolution stages here, but they can breed. I know that one guy from the community, he made a breeding function for CryptoDappy. So I was very impressed by that. Yeah, that was something very cool.
Nice. Okay, so let's step into the main topic of this live stream, this episode, which is the project Zeedz. So you can also share your screen again. And I would like to know a little bit about the history. Do you have any other founder? So how? Because I'm always interested about like when an idea starts. So when the idea is there, you have the repository. Okay, people say, okay, so now someone has created that. But at the beginning, you have nothing basically. So this is always interesting to me.
Sure, I can. Let me share my screen again, and I have a short. Just a few slides that can, I think, show a bit of the basics of Zeedz, let's say. Yeah, you should be able to see that.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, basically talking about, because you were asking who had this idea, how did this idea happen? Well, Sven, like my co-founder and I, we kind of like met around 10 or 11 years ago in our first semester at university. We played in a band. That band had 0 concerts. We weren't that, let's say, ambitious at the time. And then we kind of like lost our paths, and Sven built one of the biggest German animation film companies. So he had a lot coming from the marketing and design direction. They really kind of like here in Germany, they brought this whole topic of explainer videos, of animated explainer videos forward. So we always had a feeling for really fresh and great design ideas and marketing ideas. in that time, as I told you, I was building kind of like applications for universities and got into the blockchain space. And at the beginning of this year, when Sven was just in Thailand for a few weeks, we just randomly kind of like connected again and said, okay, well, what's this blockchain thing? He asked me, and I explained him, and he got down the whole rabbit hole, and he said, we have to do something. And I'm like, okay, I'm up for it, definitely. And I mean, we both know, and this is probably like now tying it a bit to the purpose here, and I think you stop me if I'm going too much into a monologue here. But 2021, I think, much more than all the years before, have shown that, you know, climate change is a reality, and that there's really no way around reducing carbon emissions, at least for, you know, the world to become carbon neutral by 2050, as in the Paris Agreement. And I think we really felt it this year. So it was obvious for us at the beginning, we want to do something with a purpose. We want to leverage kind of like the old paradigms that we had from gaming, but kind of like refresh them with something that actually had a purpose. And what kind of like what we wanted to provide is an easy and fun way to contribute. So not everyone is up for the challenge to say, okay, I'm going to be the best person I can, and I'm going to contribute, you know, this many funds or this many time and spend so much, you know, on this topic. So we really thought, how can we make this as easy, accessible as possible, and also make it open for people that, you know, there are people who are just there for the fun. There are people that are just there for opportunistic reasons. But even then, we can leverage kind of like the time and the resources that those people put into games and tie it really to you know, make it that contributions come to these projects. So we came up with Zeedz, and Zeedz is, in our view, a revolutionary NFT game where players reduce global carbon emissions by collecting nature-inspired monsters. And this is what we talked about, the Zeedles. You see some sketches, our very early sketches from our designers here. By the way, shout out to Alicia and Anna from our design team. They really are doing every day a great job at designing these cute little monsters. So those were, I think, one of the first sketches that we talked about. And of course, they built on an eco-friendly blockchain. That's not a secret anymore. We're building on Flow, one of the most sustainable blockchains out there. And yes, the cool thing about them is they grow with the real world weather. So they are basically your NFTs, but not the NFTs like you know them, that just sit there in your wallet, and kind of like the only thing that you can do with them is trade them. No, seeds you can actually plant seeds across the whole world. And you can plant your seed, you know, in California, you can place it in Rome, you know, you can place it in the Antarctica if you want. It depends a bit on what kind of like your seed wants to do. But, you know, this is what I explained before. We think that, yeah, tying this to a purpose is really at the heart of the whole project. And so this is why we came up with this whole paradigm, let's say, of play for purpose. And basically, play for purpose is based on kind of like these two pillars that we have. So one, as I talked about, is the financial contribution. So basically, when people buy Zeedles, when they take care of their Zeedles, they have to kind of like frequently make a few micro payments in the game. So you water your Zeedle, for example, and this in-game purchases, they all go to projects that are doing carbon offsets. So this is kind of like the financial contributions pillar. But of course, there's the other side to it. Of course, carbon offsetting and financial contributions is great. I won't say anything against that. But of course, it's kind of like we cannot say we are just going to live our life as we used to do and just offset for it. You know, have a trip around the world. Who cares? I can offset it. That's not going to work. So we wanted to really make a change in kind of sensitizing our players that are probably not so deep in a topic or that are probably just there for the fun, to sensitize for climate you know, phenomena, and to realize problems around climate change, and also to see things like biodiversity in action and to really sensitize them for that. So this is why we tied the purpose to the gameplay. So when you plant your Zeedle, and this is why we chose the real world weather, by the way, when you plant your Zeedle, you really have to do your work up front. You have to think about, you know, what climate zone does my Zeedle live in? What weather do I like to have? And you kind of have to know a lot, or let's say you have to start knowing more about climate phenomena, vegetation zones, different climate zones, and this kind of like tying the gameplay to the purpose and how we want to, and this is the second pillar, kind of like finding a change in let's say the in the mindset of the people. Sorry so far for my for my monologue here. I paused there for a second because I fear that I will go on otherwise for very long.
No, this is awesome. But so you're saying you're the first play for purpose game. Are there any other types of like NFT genres that you know? Because like the one I'm most familiar with is play to earn. And I think that's Axie's model. Have you seen any other genres of NFT games come up?
So I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, I think so. Like I mean, there's play to earn, of course, like it's hugely popular right now. And basically, in a way, what we're doing at Zeedz does lend from the idea of play to earn a bit. So there's certainly a play to earn element here. We are not saying that, you know, we are 100% charity and everything goes to those carbon offset projects. I mean, of course, as you grow your Seedle, like we won't do price discussions here, right? But as you grow your Seedle, it's clear that people hope that, for example, the Seedle will get stronger, bigger, and thus be appreciated more. But yeah, so there's definitely a play to earn character in this, just that we leverage a lot from that what you can earn also for the purpose, because we think that especially blockchain technology should be kind of like create shared value. And it's great that, you know, play to earn allows people to make a living from games. We think it would be even greater if that would follow kind of like societal goals, right? But sorry, you asked me about game types. So yes, play to earn. I think we all know it, like Axie Infinity. But for example, like yeah, take a look at I wanted to say CryptoDeppy at CryptoKitties, right? The place where this comes from is really at the intersection of kind of like where does a game start and where does the collection end, let's say, because CryptoKitties is basically like you have your collection of kitties. Of course, you have your like minor gameplay elements, like you can breed and you have a very long, not really strict cycle of where you want to breed your kitty. You have to invest a bit of time. So it's really, I don't know if you can talk of a game loop here, but this is how kind of like I think NFT and gaming merge. So I think you can see kind of like the shock waves that games like CryptoKitties still that you can still feel now, right? And then, for example, applications like NBA Top Shot, which had this collection element, but you have something like challenges, for example. So challenges that are of course related to collecting your NFTs, but that are there on a you know more frequent basis and have more like gameplay elements. And then of course, kind of like all this metaverse. I'd even say those lands that we see, right? Like the sandbox, for example, all that go towards creating this kind of like new immersive experience that connects with digital assets on a blockchain. That's in a way just taking this paradigm further, I think, and building something like an open world that you could play in. I hope that kind of like answers your question, but yeah, I think that's what I can come up with at the moment. But there's surely, you know, some games that I might not know of. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Ben, thank you so much. Do we want to show maybe, I don't know, like the page and maybe, yeah, maybe even if you want, if you have any question, you can drop this in the chat. So I would like to have maybe, I'm also thinking about making this like maybe, I don't know, another day with Samina, we can make another dedicated live stream, but you don't have to stop sharing your screen. Okay, so can we see this a little bit in action? Maybe talk about the, I don't know, the player, how does it work, or basically whatever.
Definitely, yeah. So I can tell you a bit about kind of like the standard game loop that we have, or how kind of like our basically our growing game will start, and then I could also like explain you a bit about where we're going, what's next for Zeedz. So I just shared it again.
Yeah,
so basically,
Yeah, no, sorry, just for your information, I've made a poll like, have you ever played an NFT game? And we got like only the 25% of the people have ever played an NFT game, and I am in the 75%. So maybe it's explain also something also about some basics about about what an NFT game is. Maybe while you are just showing something. Thank you.
Yeah,
They look super cool,
definitely.
by the way. I think we all agree with this. I will not even make a poll out of that because we will get 100%. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think to be honest, that's a super good question. Like, I think the problem that we still face today with anything, to be honest, blockchain related, and especially with games, I think is usability and its openness. And I think this might be the reason that many people have not gone into NFT games, for example, that deep, or there's kind of like a barrier or friction. And that's because on, let's say legacy blockchains, older blockchains, or even some, newer blockchains, there's really a bad usability. Let's not talk about this. Like let's let's accept that some blockchains, we're not calling names there, but that some experiences are really not up to par. If you compare it to kind of like what, I don't know, make your grandma test, right? Could my grandmother use it? And I don't think that she's going to send funds over MetaMask and she's going to kind of like set the gas limit and then see how her transaction goes, right? So one thing that we want to combine with this is kind of like have the accessibility a bit more, right? Accessibility for the mainstream is important to us, and this is also kind of like why we went to Flow, why we want to provide an experience that is like feels Web 2 but gives you the possibilities of Web 3, right? And I'm going to share a bit more from our website and everything else. But first, let me talk to you a bit through kind of like our gaming loop of the growing game. So think about this. We have two types of games. So one is the growing game, which is basically kind of like leveling up your seedles, planting them in different locations in the world. And then you have a gameplay, which is coming out later, where you actually have kind of like real life gameplay elements. But this is kind of like more about our real gameplay. And the first thing that you do, you get your small little seed packs. And we now had a community sale. This was one of the very few times that you can get fully grown seedles. Every seedle will start when you enter the game later as a small seed, the one that you can see here, so the small, tiny little seed that's coming out of that pack. You can buy those packs and you can then start to plant it. As I say, you can plant it anywhere in the world. So you better think about that, where you plant it and what weather is good for your seedle. And now for every seedle that's different. And then you can hatch it. So what happens is that from your small little seed, there's an actual tiny cute seedle hatching from it, evolution stage number 1. And yeah, so if you did everything right, it will start from level 1. And now you have to kind of like take care of it. You can grow it and plant it on other locations in the world, depending on which kind of like stage you want to go next. But this, like, the more you kind of like spend time and energy on your seedle, the more the CO2 offset value of your seedle will grow, the more your level will grow, and then you can evolve your seedle to other steps. The cool thing is you can both evolve it, so that means you can grow it to a next evolution stage, and different families have different evolution stages, and you kind of like have to think, okay, where do I want to grow my seedle to? And you can customize it. So we have so-called growing recipes that you can start to use, and kind of like uh, find different flowers, for example, for the head, or different attributes of your seedle. So kind of like this crypto kitty ish thing that I really like about customizing your plant, so you can really make it your own. It's not like all evolution stage 3 of the succulent seedle are the same. No, you can really customize them and evolve them, of course, to next stage. So there's the Pokemon reference, right? You can evolve them. And of course, and that's the biggest part, you can love them. You can really kind of like build up a strong relationship with your seedle. And this is also why we chose, jokes aside, why we chose blockchain technology. We don't want to have short-lived assets. We do want that you really build a relation with your creature, that you really customize it, that you evolve it, and yeah, kind of like go this journey together with your Seedle in the fight against the evil Lord II. I think this is something that we could share as well. I don't know if I can kind of like, can we show videos in here?
Which kind of videos?
So probably if I put a video in here, you wouldn't be able to hear the sound,
You
right?
can share your screen or you can send me this email, but I think it should take a while.
Oh, okay. Yes, that could be the case. So I mean, we can take a look at it and I kind of like explain what happens. One second, sorry. Just okay.
No worries.
Cool. So
how can I become part of Zeedz and play the game? Yeah,
sorry,
we are explaining Jimmy Lee.
So let me try to, because I think you will not hear the sound, but let me.
You can send
kind
me
of
a
like
link.
share my
I don't know.
screen. So you should be able to see my screen, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can. Okay, so this is the. Okay, so by the way, this is the YouTube channel, and but I don't think that you can play this. Maybe you should share. Let me try. Send me.
Francesco, no worries. I can walk through it, kind of like what's happening here, because kind of like our story is that the world is at crossroads, and on the disposable islands there is a very evil lord, the evil Lord CTO II, and he lives in his tower, and he has made kind of like he's this lonely creature, but you know, as he's lonely, he's also very bored. So he kind of like picks up a book there that says, you know, what can I do in world destruction? How to destroy a planet? And of course, he finds out, because he's quite smart, that pollution is a very good way to destroy the planet. And this is why he's kind of like blowing out exhaust gases like crazy, and trying to get, you know, the whole world to collapse by polluting the environment. And this is also from Alicia, our great designer here, a very nice storyboard. So the only ones that can stop him now are basically a tiny army of cute little seedles. And those are those creatures that you can see and that we talked about, and only they can stop the evil Lord II. But they have to grow strong and big in order to stop him. And the question is, will they make it? Can they defeat the evil Lord II, or will they fail? And basically, that's the backstory of Zeedz. And yeah, so if you haven't, check out that video. We had great fun making it. I'll also post the link here. So
nice. Amazing. I love that. I'm doing
the
well.
artwork is so cute. Well, you all need a merch store. I don't know if that's in the works. I want some Zeedz plushies.
I can't disclose anything right now, but you could be right that there might be something coming in this direction. Yes.
It's so cute. Like
we need the spoilers.
Kudos to the
we need the
designers.
spoilers, Ben.
Yeah, we need the secrets. We won't tell any, but we're just.
I know. Totally confidential. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I can say we do have plans to do that. Stay tuned. Definitely. Yes. This is not the first time this question came up, and yeah. I mean, as you can also see, we are like super focused on design. For us, design is super important and interesting, and we have in my kind of like view the best talent that I could ever dream of in this regard. Our main designer Alicia, she's really crushing it, to be honest, and she's supported by Anna, and they are putting out these storyboards, those seedles, and they have kind of like this wonderful, and you should bring them on in another episode, because they can, like Alicia, for example, she can talk hours about this whole process of creating this, and they really managed to give this character. You know, I never can understand how can you just come up from scratch and see a plant and then give it a character, as well as they do. So this is yeah, just a huge shout out again on this stage to our designers. I always still take a look at the Zeedz every day, and I'm still in love with them.
Nice. Amazing. Nice.
Yeah, I think the artwork was what really caught my eye in the beginning with this project too. I think like the website was just like so well designed, landing page and everything. Did we share the website yet? I don't think so. I think I guess we can do that more towards the end. But I wanted to say congratulations because you mentioned you got through your pre-sale round and you did amazing on the numbers. I think it was like over 1.5 million on the pre-sale. Can you kind of share those numbers, and were you like expecting that, or were you kind of shocked? Like, did it like blow you away that you all did so well on the pre-sale?
We didn't expect this kind of like route to go down, to be honest. And this was something we started our pre-sale, I think the week before Christmas, and it was like Sven and I were just always on Slack and couldn't believe it how well it was received. So we chose, and that's probably a good time to jump into also the website. I think I can share that as well. By the way, Zeedz.io, if you want to check it out for yourself. And yeah, so we started the pre-sale on exactly December 17th, and kind of like in a very early hours of the pre-sale, we already jumped into the top rankings of Flow. So right now we are, I think, according to primary sales, the number 6 on the Flow list. So we are super proud of that, and a huge thank you to our community. I just wanted to say that again. They enabled us to raise 1.6 million, above 1.6 million US dollars from our primary sale, from our pre-sale, and that allows us to kind of like build the game full speed and follow the stream. So the early community is what enabled this, and we were super happy about this. But yes, Sabina, you asked about numbers. So yes, we sold 5,070 packs and got around 1.6 million that we raised there. And we kind of like did a different approach. You know how many projects have their pre-sale, and it's kind of like very, very limited packs, and they sell out in seconds, and basically it's hard to get a pack. We wanted for everyone that wanted to get a pack, that they had the chance to do so. We had some categories selling out. The legendary sold completely out. The epic nearly did. So yes, there were some categories sold out, but of course there were also a few left in the end. So if you wanted to get your seed pack, you could get it, and this was important to us, and this is why we let this run over 30 days. So it's a bit different approach than other projects did, but for us it was clear we wanted to have that. Also, we accepted payments via credit card just to kind of like follow that narrative of bringing an application to the mainstream. And you know, we didn't want only people that know how to use a crypto wallet kind of like be part of the pre-sale. And yeah, so basically, as I said before, the pre-sale was one of the very few times that you can buy actually big leveled up Zeedz, right? So this is kind of like the advantage that you have from the pre-sale. And also, and now talking about kind of like the minting strategies, we mint in editions, and all the Zeedz from the pre-sale are edition 0. So later in the game, you will always know that those Zeedz were minted at the very first time, and so they will always be something special. And this is kind of like our thank you as well to the early Zeedz family, as we say, because yeah, that was amazing, and it kickstarted us also on Discord. Right now we have like so many people on Discord that are just tossing in ideas, discussing about Zeedz. You should check out our Discord server. We also have stickers from our Zeedz. Our design team designed stickers from the Zeedz, so they were a hit, I think, as well. And we have weekly AMAs, so every week we kind of like meet the co-founders and a bit of our team, talk about the recent developments, and yeah, lots of cool stuff. So also check out our Discord.
Yeah, I need to be involved more. I think I signed up for the pre-sale emails, and then I kind of like fell out of the loop with everything for a little bit, but I want to get back into or like checking out the project. And I read your white paper today. I think, was it updated a little bit? I don't remember if it was the same as what I had read months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when you read it the last time, but yes, there were some changes also before the pre-sale, and we kind of like got everything streamlined. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I highly encourage you all to check out the white paper. Like, it just really goes over like a lot of what we talked about today in detail, which is pretty awesome. And it's like really well written. Like, most white papers confuse the heck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like sitting there like annotating like I'm in a college class or something. But this one was really easy to read, so I really appreciated you all doing that. I wanted to ask about like some of the NGOs that you all are involved with. Are you allowed to like talk about them, or like how you got in touch, or kind of what you're working on with them?
Yeah, sure. That's one of my favorite topics, I think, about this. Yeah, so we are faced with kind of like a challenge and a huge opportunity. And the challenge, like the opportunity is that for the first time, and this is why it was a no-brainer for us to go for blockchain technology, was that we can provide a transparent and reliable mechanism that goes from the user's wallet to partner organizations directly, so traceable on the blockchain. And this is why we kind of like decided for that. The challenge that we have, of course, now is integrating partners with that, right? Because with accepting kind of like crypto payments, there's a whole lot of legal implications that you have. So this is kind of like why we are working on building a strong, trustful relationship with many different partners as of now. And I cannot disclose kind of like who we are talking to in this regard as of now. We will keep everyone updated on the Discord server. But what we are doing in the beginning, and this is probably where your question went, is how are we going to offset for the time being our carbon offsets. We are doing that via the gold standard, and I think the gold standard is to maybe most of you a household name. For those of you who don't know about it, basically the gold standard, as the name implies, is kind of like really the most rigorous standard for carbon offsetting. And maybe we should dive a bit more into the idea of carbon offsetting, because for some people that might be a bit of, a stretch. I don't know what the kind of audience here is, but basically carbon offsetting means nothing else than contributing funds to projects that try to minimize or even reduce carbon offsets globally. So there are projects ranging from reforestation, projects on solar energy, to all kinds of renewable energies, and also towards waste reduction, for example. Really building sustainable projects that you can provably say, okay, this has an impact on the actual CO2 or greenhouse gas exhausts that they are produced. And the gold standard is for us the most trusted source, and this is why we are going to offset via the gold standard for the beginning, and then hope to establish kind of like a long-term relationship with one or more partners. But we also want to involve our community in kind of like decision making. And if we have the cool thing about the gold standard is that they have many projects they support, and at the same time they also support the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are like goals that the UN has set up that should be ideal to reach, I think, by 2050 as well. It's kind of like a normative way to kind of like paint a picture of the future. And with every project that you support on the gold standard, also if you want to offset not via Zeedz but directly via the gold standard, you can also choose those projects based on the Sustainable Development Goals that you want to support. So this is why we also chose the gold standard for starting these actions. Yes.
That's awesome. I need to read more into that. I haven't. Go ahead, Francesca. I just interrupted you.
Yeah. I mean, so this is a game. This is amazing, by the way. And this is a game which, like, so you have built this game with NFT in your mind, I think, right? So, but what do you think about maybe other games, or maybe just, I don't know, like the future of the NFT gaming? So, for example, do you think that NFT will be integrated in other games, or because we know that the gaming, yeah, people that, of course, they love to play games. So what do you think? Or maybe what can be the differences? Maybe, I don't know, like an existing game, they try, don't know, like to sell something as an NFT. But this is another thing. So what do you think about integrating NFT in games or in the future? Or maybe what is like this project, which is amazing, by the way. I see some people here.
Thanks. I think it's the single biggest opportunity for gaming that there can be for the next, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years. Because let me base that on one thing. One person asked in our Discord before when we had our AMA on yesterday, on Thursday, and he had a great question. He said, "Can we use those seedles that we play with in Zeedz, the game? Can we use it in other games?" And I said, "Well, this precisely boils down to the point why NFTs are great for gaming. Blockchain technology allows you to take assets and to make them really, let's say, leverage network effects. So you can take them from one experience and make it really easy to integrate it with other games. So you're not, if I'm playing Pokemon and I have my Game Boy and I have my collection there, there's no way for me that I can really own those Pokemon and I can take them somewhere else in another experience, for example, because I don't really own them. They are in the game there, they're in a central database. And the cool thing about decentralization, right, is that there's actual digital ownership. And while that can be scary, it's also a huge opportunity. So I think it's going to be hugely interesting, and there's going to be a lot of NFTs in gaming. Maybe this will not be called NFTs soon. Maybe this will be, go into a an easier name. Maybe there will be subsystems. But I think the idea of owning the item in the first place and then taking it to different games, I mean that's awesome. And I think this has so many possibilities. The only thing that I hope is that game studios will not be greedy. They will not think about, how can we build this closed ecosystem, because we found out how this ends, right? If you build a closed ecosystem, you might gain in the short term, but yeah, the long-term game is always won in a network. And I think there's like a huge opportunity for gamers and for games to adopt NFTs. So yeah, that's what I think, and really empowering the player as well. Because only if I own, to be honest, and that's what we wanted to show with Zeedz, only if I own the actual gaming asset, only then I am like super willing to invest some time, money, energy into the game. And yeah, so I think that's just empowering also the player, which is, I think, just about time, right?
Definitely. I had my own thoughts on this like a while back because just seeing like I think it was Ubisoft was trying to implement NFTs into their worlds and they kind of got a lot of pushback from mainstream users. So I think it'll definitely be a while. And then another thing is like I feel like you have to build NFT games from the ground up. Like doing it as an add-on later, I don't know if that works really well with like your existing code base or like your existing player population. I think there's a lot of like stigma at this point, but yeah, I think over time we'll definitely see it. And I think the games that are like Zeedz or like Axie, who are just building it from the ground up, like are just taking off like rapidly. I think at this point we can take some questions from the chat. I know we had a few. If you want to,
Yeah, we have some questions, like this one from the studio. On a specific platform for this game, or is it just web browser for now?
So for now, it's web browser, because the growing game will happen in the web. Hopefully, we will get a mobile application there at any point in time in the future. It's not our primary focus for the growing game. But then the live gameplay, definitely, that will also come to other platforms. We can't make specific promises on what platform, but yes, then we will branch out into different media.
I want to see Zeedz on the Switch. That would be so cool.
We'll do our best.
All right.
Yeah, by the way, she's Rest Studio is a game developer, so this is why she's so interested. And so the idea of using NFT in game is cool, but can be easily applied if that idea is on the mind at the beginning. Yeah, of course, I think it's changed. It's a totally game changer, let's say. Sorry for the pun word. Yes, so absolutely. So social. Nice. Adding NFT to a project that's already live is not a smart idea. Or maybe it makes sense for like huge projects. So if your project is huge, you can sell basically, I don't know, everything in some ways. But I think here we have a different concept. So,
Can,
for example,
can I jump into this? Because I think this is a very interesting point. I think, there's two ways of adding NFTs, in my opinion. And one is that you want to monetize just for the sake of monetizing something. That you use something just for the sake of monetizing. And this is something that I think is a very strange way to go down, because it's kind of like the only way that this will render the NFT space, and this is sadly how NFTs are perceived right now, still at the moment. People see them primarily as this kind of like investing instrument, or this fancy art investing stuff that only kind of like rich people can buy, or people that have been in the space for long. Or it gets a very strange idea around it. However that might be perceived from the mainstream, however that might be, I think what people will realize at some point is it's not about NFTs. I mean, it's about digital ownership. It's just about owning your data that you have, like actual owning it. And if that's an NFT, if that's a token, if that's whatever it's called, that's a hugely positive way, and that's empowering people in the digital world. And I think, yes, I totally agree. If you add an NFT to a game just because you want to sell the next add-on, I don't know if that's going to convince your users. But if you say, hey, we want to empower our users, and that's why I said ownership can be scary, right? And this is not my quote. This is from someone on the Flow team, but I like that quote. It is scary because as a platform builder, you don't know what are they going to do with it, right? And especially on a platform like Flow, users really have ownership because they live in their account, those NFTs. But that's kind of like the trade-off you get for having huge network effects. If people realize, well, I really own that. There's Zeedz can at some point, fail to exist, but your seed will always be there, right? And this is yeah, a great, I think, good remark, because it shows you always have to check your motives as well, I guess. That was kind of like...
Nice. We have another question. What are the main reasons you built this game on Flow? If gas fee are one reason, why not on Solana, for example? So was this on purpose, or maybe not?
Yes, that was on purpose, and really we have a few points why we build on Flow, and of course, I mean, I'm biased. I won't make any talk about that. I mean, I've worked at Flow, and so that's of course something that has been on my mind, and something that I really like from the beginning. But however, there are many things that for Zeedz makes Flow very attractive. And we talked about this. One thing that was baseline for us was sustainability. We cannot integrate with a blockchain that is not sustainable. It's a baseline, and we will never do that in the beginning. We will never do that during our time. So even if we think there are cross-chain avenues to go down, we will always integrate only with blockchains that require a certain level of sustainability, right? We build on Flow because, and this is the second point that goes to that, it has a great usability. It is very accessible, and there's a mainstream audience that already lives there, right? And we build on Flow because not only does it make it easy for users, but also for developers. And again, I'm biased. I wrote about this. It just happens that I don't dislike any other chains. I find them very interesting. I just really find the way of building on Flow very intuitive, that you have your NFTs in your account, that you have capabilities as an access control. So that makes it really easy for developers. And yeah, of course, it's scalable. There are many other blockchains too. But also, like I said, the ecosystem, there's already a mainstream audience there, and we are going for mainstream. So that was kind of like the decision why we went for Flow. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and there we go. Nice. Perfect. Okay. Nice. Amina, which are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm so mesmerized. I'm still trying to process this.
She's
Do we
playing.
have?
She's
Sorry,
playing. She's playing.
I'm playing Zeedz right
I
now.
have to say, sorry, just because this fits well to the ecosystem. We have wonderful people in the Flow ecosystem. For example, also Decentrology, right? And yeah, that's like a great example. I mean, the stuff that you're building at Decentrology, the kind of like, I know the hyperverse and that stuff, and the kind of like tutorials, the effort you put in there, that is like, this is awesome. And we find like you're very unique as Decentrology, and we love you as a partner in the Flow ecosystem. But there are also many other, you know, let's say similar positively experiences I made with projects on Flow, and that's also why, yeah, positivity is very important. And I think, yeah, Decentrology is a super example from that, right? So just
That made my day.
shout out.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Do you have any other questions from chat, Francesco? I did not get a chance to scroll up.
I don't, but now they will pop out. Come on, drop a
Okay.
question. And now
We
I'll
have-
make, of course, nobody will write, but it's okay.
So we have a few minutes left on the stream. Well, if anybody has any last minute questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. But my last question is, how can people learn more and get involved with Zeedz? And I know the pre-sale is over, so maybe like if you can give us like a roadmap of when we can start purchasing and like where to purchase, how to purchase, do we need a wallet, do we need etc. Just kind of like how do we do this? How do you go about this?
Yes. I will tell you all about it. So right now we are finalizing our platform so that in February, March 2022, and now I shared my screen with a kind of like roadmap that we have ahead. So that in February to March, people will can claim their NFTs from the pre-sale, and then shortly after that the marketplace will launch. So you'll be able to buy your first seed on the peer-to-peer marketplace, and then shortly after we will also start our first on-chain drops. So then kind of like the first edition coming out. And we'll keep you posted. How can you stay posted? If you go over to Zeedz.io, you can sign up for our newsletter, or you can visit our Discord channel. The link you also find on Zeedz.io. And of course, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, under Zeedz_official. And I think we can share that as well later. And then in June, we will have the growing game. So basically how you can level up your seedle, everything that we talked about. And we're aiming at November 2022 to have the live gameplay out there, so that you can actually start already to play the live game. And another few interesting points that we didn't touch upon today. But your main source of information is definitely our website. You can read our white paper there as well, as you, Samina, mentioned before. So do check it out at Zeedz.io.
Awesome. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Like this is like I didn't give you much time to prepare for this, but you like had the roadmap, you had like the PowerPoint and everything. Thank you so much for like sharing all of that with us. I just wanted to say I hope I can bring you all on again, like in a few months, maybe with the artists or maybe with Sven possibly, and maybe like do another deep dive into your project. That would be awesome. Or like maybe see like how the progress is going. I'm gonna go ahead and close this off. Or Francesco, do you have any last words?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed because maybe we needed to make this live stream before the launch, but it's okay. We are also just getting started. Maybe this is just my only thought, but no. But the project looks amazing. Good luck with that. It looks very promising. It seems that you are really clear ideas because, for example, I can say this publicly. I'm not gonna say names, but I've been contacted by people saying you're making an NFT game. Okay, when? Maybe in 2 years. Do you want to join? So it's kind of crazy. So maybe there are people trying to do something, but they don't have an idea. Instead, here I see an idea, a concrete idea.
Can you not
Also
share our
actual.
DMs?
No.
Can you not share?
No, I'm not. Thank you. Okay, there we go. So yes, so this is my thought. It looks very promising. I would like maybe to see next time a bit of gameplay or maybe understand a bit the mechanics that you have created, so a little bit more in action. But yeah, I'm done. Thank you, Samina, for organizing this. Thank you, Ben. You did great. Yes.
Yeah. Last
Thank
words
you
from
very
Ben.
much. Thank you very much, Samina. Thank you very much, Francesco, for having me here, for being able to present Zeedz. Great idea, what you're doing here, and I hope also for your format that this is going to, be as great as it is. So perfect. Thank you very much. And yes, we'll keep you updated on everything that's happening on Zeedz. And again, also shout out to the whole Zeedz team. Right. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week or maybe the week after. We haven't decided. So on Web3 Squared.
Perfect.
Bye.
Let's see. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.